Hey guys, welcome to Zack Attack Reviews. Thank you for joining me for my ranking of the best and worst movies I saw in April 2023. The summer blockbuster movie season has kicked off with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and it's going to continue through May, June, and July as we get banger after banger after banger of big tentpole films. But I gotta say, for this spring in April, we got some solid films that came out every week, and I got to see 7 of them. Every single film on here that you see, I got a review for it on my channel. The links for those will be in the description of this video. You can check it on my channel if you want to search on there as well. So I'm going to start with number 7. At the bottom of my list is Renfield, a movie that I had high expectations for, but unfortunately let me down. I expected a really campy, fun film with Nicolas Cage eating up the scenery as Dracula, and we got a little bit of that throughout the film, but it was mostly spent on Renfield's discovery of trying to become independent, coming from a toxic relationship, and a lot of those scenes were fun and interesting, but didn't really get deep or was just on the surface level, so it didn't get really super deep, and I didn't think all the jokes and comedies worked, and the movie ended up being held back because they tagged on this Aquafina storyline of her being a cop and trying to defend what happened to her father, which didn't end up happening either way. So it kind of became a mess a little bit in terms of narrative, but the movie is still a fun time and still worth a watch at home at least. Coming at number 6 is Polite Society, a movie that's running under a lot of people's radar. It's a movie starring 2 Indian girls on different paths in their lives. One wants to be a stunt woman, and her sister has dropped out of college and doesn't know what she wants to do in her life. And it's one of those stories where the sister decides to settle for a guy for happiness, and the younger sister's like, no, you can't do that. You got to be a strong, independent woman. And it starts off like that, and it's a fun time, and then it gets really wacky towards the middle and end of the film, where it has this crazy sci-fi plot with cloning and trying to take people's bodies and different aspects like that, with some decent choreographed action sequences and some really decent jokes. I wasn't blown away by the film. I had a really good time with it, but it was just certain aspects of it that felt made for TV a little bit, and then some aspects that was cinematic. So I feel like the filmmaking was up and down throughout the film, but overall I really enjoyed the cast and I had a lot of fun. I definitely say check out Polite Society. Coming at number 5 is Sisu, a movie that I really enjoyed. I thought was really great, and another movie that's flying on a lot of people's radars. I'm starting to see people starting to catch on to it now. But it's a movie made by the same people that did the John Wick films, and it's set in Finland back during the Nazi era when they were at war. And it's this Finn gold miner who's trying to help his town, and he wants no one to bother him. And of course, the Nazis decide to bother him, and then he scorches the earth to take all of them out. It's brutal comedy in it, and the performances from the main character and some of the cast were really good. This feels like the beginning of a franchise. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like a lot of people got to see it, but I think this movie is better than John Wick 1 and John Wick 2. So I think that's definitely, if you're into action films, this is definitely a worthwhile watch, and it has beautiful cinematography, a recognizable score that's really good. I still remember after watching it weeks after, and a really great performance from the lead guy. Definitely check out Sisu. Coming at number 4 is Air, the Nike trying to sign Michael Jordan it's not a biography or anything, but it's based on real events, starring Matt Damon and a slew of all-star cast, Viola Davis being another standout. This was a great time, an old school classic film about entertainment industry. If you're into the creation of the Jordan, how hard Nike had to go to get Michael Jordan, how their sports division was almost shut down because they didn't have anybody and they weren't appealing. Converse was beating them, Adidas was beating them, so they really needed to get Mike, and everything they did and all the creative ways they took to get him on board and how all that success followed. I really enjoyed this film a lot. I know that a lot of people didn't get to see it in theaters, but it's going to be streaming on Amazon Prime soon because this is their film, and I think it's definitely something you should check out if you're a fan of sports films, feel-good films, and you're a sneakerhead. I think those things are going to be very appealing for you, especially if you love the history of it, and it has some really touching performances in it as well. Check out Air. Coming at number 3 is the 5th installment of a franchise that I am now a fan of, but I'd never seen before this. I reviewed the Evil Dead films leading up to this, and that's Evil Dead Rise. I had a great time with this film. It was brutal, it was funny, it has some really good emotional moments and messages in it that made me attached to these characters more than any other Evil Dead film. and I really, really enjoy this. The gore and the extremeness doesn't match maybe the 2013 film, and the jokes and the hilarity doesn't match the original trilogy of Evil Dead, but it sits right in between of all that, where it has a good mixture where I care about the characters, and that was more important for me. I think if you're a horror fan, this is going to probably be the best horror movie we're going to have for the year, and for a long time, I don't see really anything topping it for a while. You should definitely check it out. It is really, really brutal. This is some of the most brutal things I've seen in a horror movie in a long time, but it is a good time. Coming at number 2 is a movie that made me just feel like a kid again, and that's Super Mario Bros. The movie. I was so super worried about this film when they showed the trailers, and then you had Chris Pratt as Mario, and I was like, what? But he did a great job as Mario. I loved his voice acting in the film, and the cast just knocked it out of the park overall. But Jack Black as Bowser was the standout. He was absolutely amazing in this. Everything he did, from the singing to how he was trying to force marriage on Peach, and everything he did was just perfect. He was the strongest part of the film, and the film was just fun overall. If you're a fan of the Mario franchise, this was just pure joy. They didn't try to hamstring it with a like real life story and try to add humans in it and things like that. They made it purely animated, and it was just a pure joy to watch. I really, really enjoyed this, and this is one of my favorite movies of the year. It's in my like top 5 list. So definitely check out Super Mario Brothers. I know it's still in theaters, and it's going to be coming on PVOD and streaming soon. So definitely check it out. And coming at number 1 is a movie that had me left in a daze, confused. My review was more of a rant. It destroyed my normal structure, and that's Beau is Afraid from A24. A24 is my favorite production company because they always put out films that pushes my taste in films and introduces me to things that I'd never seen before and makes me want to go back and see films similar. And Beau is Afraid is another one. A lot of people compare this movie to like a Kaufman film, and I've personally, since I'm a baby cinephile, I've never seen a Kaufman film. So now I want to go check those out, because if they're like this or better, I definitely want to check it out. It's a movie about someone with extreme social anxiety, maybe schizophrenia, and has severe trauma from his family, whether it's his father, his mother, and how she manipulates his life. And just the simple task of him going from his house to going to his mother's house, which is in a different state, and her potentially being dead, is this journey that's like biblical and Greek mythology like. And it just makes you question what's happening, what is reality, all the twists and turns. I had such a great time watching this film. It's funny at the same time, a lot more funnier than I thought it was going to be, but it also gets deep and emotional as well, and you really connect to Beau as a character, and there's so much things in the background that's happening that you can watch this again and catch other stuff. So this is honestly, this is my number 1 film of the year total, but this is definitely my number 1 film of April. So guys, drop your list down below. What are your favorite films that you saw in April? New, old, in between, things you just revisit and catch up on. Let me know in the comments down below what I missed. Some movies that I didn't get to check out, because I go to movie theaters every week, and then I try to catch some things on streaming. I didn't get to see everything I wanted to see, but I saw most of them. It was just a couple things that I didn't catch on my list. But drop your list down below. Like the video if you like my review. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to be notified of my reviews, reactions, live discussions, ranking lists, and much, much more. And you can catch more content right now.